We're gonna start with Grash and Rav, and I'm gonna need some casters to help me with this. I got a warning track here.
Hello, thanks for having me. We couldn't find a caster, but they found me instead.
Yeah, we found you, and we also found Pwn Noob, just kind of hanging out.
I
Hello.
am a caster, but discount version.
Yeah.
So we're both here,
Yep.
and we're excited for these Winter Cup quarterfinal games
Yes.
here. It's still considered 2021, by the way. It's
Yeah. Well, it's the 2021 season. It's like other sports. It's the. Well, actually, I guess they might even call it. I don't know.
This is Winter Cup 2022, but we did start talking about it in 2021. Normally, the Winter Cup actually does start in the previous year and carry over from December to January. This is the first time in its fourth iteration the Winter Cup has started in the same year it's named for.
Yeah. I mean, at least, at the, oh, yeah. At the very least, it is still winter.
It is still winter. I can attest. I'm dressed warmly. Noob, I assume you are as well. Kletos, maybe not.
No.
You don't have to.
Yeah,
I
I
hate
don't
you.
have to.
Yeah, but Noob and I, Noob a little north, me a little east, to say the least.
Yeah.
We are chilly.
I don't even own a jacket or a sweater.
You
Okay.
have a misunderstanding of how Oregon weather works. That being said, our first game is going to be Grash versus Rav. Kledos, if you want to get us the picks and bans,
Yes,
that would
yes.
be
In fact,
fantastic.
I do, in fact, have this. And they are somewhat interesting.
Goodness, we have Canadians in the chat saying
Yes.
minus 38 Celsius, which I'm pretty sure is about minus 38 Fahrenheit too.
Yeah.
I think that's where it transfers over. That's too cold.
Yeah. So we
On
got.
that note, if you want to get us started here, Kledos, we got Swap Block and Comfy Classics, but let's go through them.
Yep. We got the swap block. I love. That's the quality selection of venues. You got all the venues where you could block, swap, and tan. Which I mean, technically the statue is blocked, but not really. I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
statues have silhouettes. Close
Yeah,
enough.
I
It's
mean,
obscure. Let's just
obscure.
say it's obscure.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they could have put in something else. Like,
I mean, the swap
even
obfuscation doesn't roll off the tongue the same way.
even ballroom would have been like more swap blocky. But anyway, but that has to be in Comfy Classics, which is the other set that has been picked, which is just all the the first four venues that ever existed in this game.
Yeah,
Just
good
right
point.
there.
Yeah, y'all know those. It's gonna be a pretty varied set. Kletos, of course, unabashedly just has favorite venues.
Yes, and they
Not
are.
trying to do the checker thing. I love them
And
all equally.
yeah,
Not even trying to be diplomatic like I try to
yes,
be, but I mostly fail at. Kletos is just like, nope, like this venue.
yep, I do. Actually, I mean, I like all the Comfy Classics. Actually, all these venues really are all
Oh,
pretty high up on my list, which is cool.
not bad. The only venues we're not playing tonight are the ones he doesn't like.
Yeah.
I do want to set the stage briefly here
Yes.
between Grash and Rav because they do have very different competitive histories. In this particular tournament, Grash is a perfect 5-0, but that's after failing to get out of the group stage in their only other two cup appearances. So this is really a coming out party for Grash. Rav, on the other hand, is 4-0-1 here and has had considerably more success historically. They've made it to the second round of the knockout bracket in last year's Winter Cup, and they finished an impressive third in the previous Cup, the 2021 Summer Cup. So historically, Grash has had a good spy, but let's say a very unsteady sniper. Has clearly leveled up coming into this event. Rav, on the other hand, always had a strong spy, but has had a suffocating sniper for their entire competitive career. They have never dipped below a 75% sniper win rate in their 3 cups or 1 SCL season, and they're averaging over 84% overall. And if that sounds high, it is, because that is no joke, the highest rate with at least a 30-game minimum for all the 27,000 plus games I have logged in my database. That is the highest sniper rate, period, with a 30-game minimum.
Okay.
Fantastic stuff there from Rob. And we're also going to see a stylistic difference. Rob is a dirty camper. He's going to be watching for missions very directly. With Grash, they've become a bit infamous for their pathing sniping, so it's going to be interesting to see the stylistic differences. With the maps, especially with Rob banning Balcony, it's going to be a lot of big maps. We're not seeing anything less than 4 missions being done. And we're going to be starting off with our doubled Aquarium, but we also do have doubled Ballroom. Which are quite spy favored relative to some of the maps that we're going to be seeing. So this start of the match could be volatile. We could see one player running away with it, or we could see a very close match, depending on how the players start this match.
Yep, we are diving right in. Last summer, shark attacks in Australia were rebranded negative encounters. I don't know if either of you heard that. And far be it from me to argue with our friends down under the sea. We're heading to negative encounters, any 4 of 8. It's going to be Teal or Mom. We don't have to argue about it. As the spy, played by Graash, in 3, 2, 1, playing it. It's okay. That happens. Those fights are for the Discord. That's where we want our hashtag engagement to show up.
Fantastic stuff. We see Grash check that he has a low shark, and we're near the ambassador already, but the ambassador's going to get kicked out here by Orange Sorry. And maybe we can get a bug immediately. Does not take it. A slow start here from Grash because our seduction target is milling about.
Yeah, and the shark is swimming about. Coming across that center conversation just now, it was not coming across before is what that means, which is probably one of the reasons they didn't take the bug. Obviously, you can get away with it. Sometimes it can pay to get away without the shark blocking you because the sniper doesn't even expect people to do that. But generally speaking, you're going to get better opportunities. The same kind of thing we say about Tayen with early chaos bugs not taken. But we have no progress here.
Yeah, we need to get 4 missions done. We do have like a print at bar, but I think that's going to be taken up pretty quickly. We do have our seduction target moving across the party. We do have the double agent leaving our conversation. The opportunity for missions is also just disappearing quite quickly.
Yeah, bar prints do not stay around very long here. On Aquarium, all the guests are drinking like fish, to say the least. We are next to our seduction target now. It is only a white test, 34%, and we're going to bail right afterwards. This is just like a blatant etiquette violation, a sort of catch me if you can. I'm going to do it until I get punished for it. And instead of being punished, we are rewarded. The seduction target follows us to the next conversation.
Yeah, if you're not near your seduction target, the timer will go down really quickly, and you can flirt pretty quickly. If you're standing next to the seduction target, it'll be like 45 seconds plus. So leaving the seduction target is generally going to be a good thing. We did have to wait a few seconds for the timer to catch up with the seduction target following us, but in general, that was a great thing for Grash. This is low shark microfilm, and we have not been shot for it, which usually means we get away with it. We probably are tracked to be at the green bookcase, but this is a good start for what was a very slow start at the beginning of this game.
We did hit the green test on that seduction afterwards, too, bringing us up to 69%. That,
Nice.
too, like Mom and Teal, is something we don't necessarily need to talk about. But it does mean that we're going to be able to finish right here with a white test next to our seduction target. So that went from a very problematic amount of progress on the flirt to being done very quickly in the microfilm half with it. From the sniper side, by the way, yeah, no real evidence of that microfilm. Of course, we are behind the shark. That is suspicious, but suspicious is all it is. Nothing dispositive seen.
Interestingly, most people in this party are in the conversations, but a few of the highlights are out if we do this banana bread. Here it comes. Smallman and Rocker just made it into the conversation, which might help Grash just have a bit more cover. Really feel like maybe they just walked into conversation and immediately did a green. Could be Rob's suspicions. Walking across the ambassador, no bug, and we are going to get perhaps a print, if not a possible purloin too.
It's a little late in the game to be maybe thinking about getting a print done here, but I guess you figure you might as well. If there's one at blue bookcases, you're just done. It is the fingerprint, it is done. There's a minute left, and we did get 3 lowlights from that contact, and that's really not that much. 5 total with the amount of mission progress we have. If we're not one of the top suspects, we're in a pretty good position here.
Okay, we're eyeing out what our last missions are going to be. Grash just on their side, just looking at the blue bookcase, and we'll path towards it. We do have this drink in hand, which means we've been drinking it very quickly, and we are getting highlight perhaps for just going to both bookcases.
Yeah, and there's not going to be shark cover here either, though. It's not going to get back across in time. It is a fingerprint. That is going to get us to 3 missions, though. I think we might need to leave that microfilm half done.
Refusing to do it.
This
We could
delegate can't
definitely
take, can it?
microfilm somewhere else, but we only have 20 seconds left on the clock. We are perhaps waiting for the shark too, but this is going to be... Wow, okay, we've done the purloin, and we've... What are
I
we
think
doing?
we're gonna get shot. I think Rob is all over this. Rob saw the book dump. Yep, doesn't even need it to come off, and I don't think it was going to in time. Rob absolutely saw that.
A lot of things went on right at the end there. I think we were trying to do something else with the microfilm, but accidentally delegated the... No, they just moved around right at the same time. That's
Very
interesting.
odd.
We did get the green on the microfilm, but really I think it's the replay from the sniper side is what we need to be looking at.
Yeah, it was pretty visible. I mean, the book dump is very clear. It was kind of like that aggressive flirt we saw from Grash. Just kind of, I'm going to do things on screen, and Rob's going to see them. It seems like. I think, yeah, maybe the idea was to get a hung clock, because there's no way that delegate's going to take. We're trying to do microfilm out of conversation there. The microfilm itself is not really seen, but the book dump, the AI book dump thing was, and Rav started reacting right then.
I really do like the idea from Grash, just making a play up on the spot, because I don't think this was something that was planned prior to the start of the game. But refusing to do the microfilm at the bookcase and just be shot makes sense. And trying to find a line here. Obviously, Rob is still a very good sniper. They're still gonna shoot you, but I think this was net positive compared to just doing it at the bookcase raw previously. So really good stuff there from Grash. It's just obviously Rob has taken the win, and we're going to see a lot of sniper wins from Rob. That's not to be unexpected as we move into Grash's sniper.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons we saw it. I mentioned the suffocating sniper. This is the kind of play you see when you're that kind of sniper, because people decide, well, if my chances of winning weren't that high to begin with, might as well throw something against that big glass wall and see if it sticks. It does not, but it only has to a couple of times. Now going into the next Aquarium game, Rav as the spy is in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Which one is this? It is Plane Twin. Always got to check for the tie.
Heat seeking our seduction target. We have Mom now, not the spy, but our flirt pair person, and we're 51%. A good start here from Rob. This is a very typical start too.
Yeah, and even if you like to flirt camp a little bit, even if you're kind of a behavioralist, good luck doing that reliably on Aquarium. So still a pretty high percentage play.
Rob doing a good job here, keeping the party in their vision on their spy camera, hoping that the ambassador would go touch a statue or go to the bar perhaps, but they've just gone to the window. There will be no fingerprints in that back corner just yet.
Yeah, good thought looking at the spy's camera. That tells you a lot, especially on Aquarium, about what they're thinking of doing or not doing in the early game. Are they looking at the shark? Are they trying to see what they can use for cover, or are they looking for prints, or maybe both?
Yeah, Rob's just keeping the ambassador in vision. It's always a good thing to do in case they walk by you, and you can also potentially get a quick bug. But otherwise, we are just standing this conversation, looking around, waiting for options. The sniper doesn't have too many highlights just yet. If you have these sort of wacky styles that come with watching for pathing or watching for etiquette or watching for behavioral stuff, you can often get overloaded with a number of highlights, but that just has not happened yet. There's actually been a few lowlights. So I think both players are not particularly unhappy about this position, but Rob does need to get moving at some point.
Yeah, Grash flashes safety off. I can't tell if it was on the ambassador for leaving a lot of prints or if it was on Teal there for going to the bar and just generally being suspicious. Might have also just been a misclick. Who knows? But Rob not doing much. As you mentioned earlier, looking at the ambassador, the thing is that doesn't tell us whether or not they're looking for possible print recipients to frame or whether or not they're thinking of getting the prints themselves. But with 2 minutes left on the clock and only that 51% in the flirt, seems like it might be the former, and it seems like our seduction target might be one of the more frameable targets.
Yeah, we can definitely finish our flirt here, but I would be interested to see if we were to go do a direct purloin, if Teal would be shot. With something like Grash, where they're not necessarily counting missions as aggressively as a player like Rav, simply just going and doing a purloin in an obvious situation like this might just do it. They aren't necessarily going to have that count and know that Teal hasn't done 4 missions.
Rob has been willing to time out occasionally in their competitive career, over 13% in the Summer Cup, for example, but only about 3.5% in the Winter Cup, where they had quite a bit of success. So, a very variable player, willing to do whatever from here to there as the circumstance demands. And if there's one place you can afford to maybe play it out and time it out, it's Aquarium.
I do like the idea of having either a very slow or very aggressive first game too. It really puts a thought into your opponent's head for the rest of the match. We do finish flirt here. We have a ability to do a second mission if we do a banana bread or even a bug.
And Grash is just
Yeah,
all over it. And not only that, Grash had the real DA highlight as well. They spent a lot of that time kind of managing that party so that when we attempted anything dispositive, it was immediately over. I think an understandable move from Rav, but one that Grash seemed completely ready for.
yeah, and I think one of the issues with this bug is we already had to watch it no matter what was happening with Rav because we would have to watch for Seek potentially doing the bug. So it's something that while Rav is getting into position and only has a few seconds to be thought about as a potential bugger, Seek has been there for a while and it's not necessarily a novel thing that Grash is like surprised by when the ambassador leaves the bookcase and goes through and can potentially be bugged.
All knotted up at 1. Snipers win the first 2 games on Aquarium, which is harder than it sounds. Now moving into Graash playing the Spy, still on Aquarium because this is one of the doubled venues, playing as green dress in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, I think Grash had the better end of it through 2 games. Definitely getting into mission win countdown, even if it was just for a moment, is a good thing to be putting pressure on the sniper. That being said, I think Grash is the person who really wants to get just even 1 or 2 spy wins, because you're not expecting to win like more than half your spy games against Rob. I'm not sure anybody has ever really done that.
No, you're certainly not. Rav looking very closely at the Ambassador in the early game here, and Red Dress, an AI we know, had some really kind of weird pathing near them and has followed them to the next conversation as well, and Rav seems pretty concerned about it, so something to keep an eye out for later if we get a surprising shot. There's a failed flirt attempt at Windows, and a highlight for it as well. Rav on the flirt pairing, not sure which it is though, and he's low-lighting a bunch of other people. That's either weirdly aggressive or we have Phantom to time ad. I think we phantomed a timeout. I don't think you would do this many lowlights. I don't think you could be that sure that that's a flirt pairing.
Yeah, I agree. Either that or no, I mean, we haven't been to the bar. Like, if this is a highlight for potentially phantoming a purloin, it doesn't make any sense, and poor Grash is just getting the punishment for it. But I think this could be just a phantom time ad, or maybe like Twin just wasn't at the pad long enough because of the red test. It means that either Twin was only there for a few
Yeah.
seconds, and that's an etiquette break,
Wow.
or they were red tested. Either way, fantastic vision there from Rav to catch it, and this will
And
confirm the
this will do
shot.
it. I mean, it's the confidence that I'm surprised at. It's just like, yeah, I'm positive this is what I saw. I maybe I'm a little more cautious. I feel like I've seen things like that fairly often, but I'm very hesitant to go all in on it. Rav, not at all though. Maybe that's why he's got an 84% sniper win rate competitively. Not at all worried that he might have it narrowed down incorrectly. On the other hand, having low lit one of those other 2 people confidently, still apparently sees no reason to shoot. So just enough caution. Let's say he's 97% sure.
Yeah, and the issue here for Grash is what is the actual plan? If you go do missions, you die. If you go stand next to the guy that you red tested, you're definitely not helping your cause. Really, the only option here is to do nothing. But one, you shouldn't know that that's your only option. I don't think you can possibly expect for everybody in the party except for you to be low lit.
Yeah, you can't. That's the thing. Like, again, even if you're willing to say to Rob just caught this, and hey, apparently he did, the surprising thing is not the catching. The surprising thing is the level of confidence exhibited, which, by the way, cannot be 100% because A, we haven't shot, and B, there it is, we had other people non-low that we brought wheels back up afterwards. So the weird thing there is not catching a thing. The real weird thing is not shooting if you're that sure, and if you're not that sure, why are you low-lighting everyone? So a little bit of dissonance there potentially, but still works.
Yeah, and if you just came off a game, I think this is always more tiring for the spy player who's still really thinking about the game, making really hard decisions, and Rob just gets a 2 minute break in the middle of the set. So this is all net positive for Rob, both within the game but also within the set.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like much, but you're totally right. Getting an easy sniper game is certainly gonna the kind of thing that can pay off later. Because I don't know about you guys, but mental fatigue a real thing in a big match, and this is an elimination match. It's 2-1 Rav. Snipers are 3-0. Rav now going to be playing his Ponytail, still on Aquarium, but this will be the last one in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Heading
So this is
towards
the
the
thing.
party, I was excited that we could potentially block the statue, but it's
Oh, we're
very
demanding
risky
this drink.
maneuver.
We're demanding this drink with top shark. It's top right shark, and I think we might try to get this and get out of there. Yep, that's the idea. We're going to get out of there with a delegate after having demanded. And here's the question: who's it going to go to? And we avoid the bar highlights that the other 2 bar visitors get. That is very significant, I think.
Yeah, as we walked over to this conversation, you could see Seek directly inside the ambassador. So for the whole time that we were doing that play, the sniper just has to be watching for a potential bug because they were in danger of being bugged very clearly the whole time. Now this purloin going off is going to result potentially in a lot of lowlights, and we'll see if Rav is also one of those.
Yep, this is the moment of truth, but already it looks really bad because the whole point of those bar highlights is that they're easy, safe lowlights that narrow things down if there's a purloin. There's very little reason to go outside of them. The thing is, it's brittle. If you miss one of them like we just did, it tends to fall apart very, very quickly. And obviously, Rob is going to try to do that. There it is. There's the Purloin. Green Dress takes it. Here come the lowlights. We are one of them. The maneuver works. We're not totally out of the woods, but this looks very good for Rav.
Yeah, and there's two issues, right? We can lose by both directions. We can just have Rav do missions and not be seen because they're low lit. We can also just have a lot of suspicion. For example, if we were to do a banana bread right now, it's very much framing of Irish, who's come into the conversation with us, and the double agent.
And the ambassador was just next to us, and Grash
Banana
was
bread.
zooming in, and she's talking during the contact, and the ambassador comes back next to us. Can we possibly hold this shot? You have to think a bug might be missed there, at least. You're going to be very nervous about it on Aquarium, and you could be shooting for almost anything. Shot has not come off yet, but I don't think Green Dress has to do much more to make it happen.
Yeah, and beyond that, we have two, almost three missions done. Our flirt should be coming off cooldown here shortly, and we should be able to get that mission done too. As long as we're not doing something very brazen, like swapping out in the open, I think Rob does have heavy winning chances. I have seen people throw away games in these situations more times than I have fingers on my hand. Definitely double digits.
But if you take a shark bug as a low light, the odds that you're not going to get away with it are shockingly low.
Ambassador might
Speaking
give us
of,
the opportunity.
oh my god.
Okay, this is definitely
Wow.
possible. We can just walk by and do a bug. Crash,
Oh,
not
yeah,
necessarily
without the shark. Without the shark would be fine probably. But with the shark in a second here, if they don't leave, this is going to be it. This is going to be easy for Rav, I think. Here comes the shark, providing cover with the bug. If we do it right now, we win the game. Does Rav sense it? Are they going for it? Or are they all in on the sieve shot? They're not going for it. Maybe not totally convinced that they're low lit.
Yeah, the laser is kind of lingering right near the ambassador. We do get a second opportunity as the shark will go the other direction.
There it is. And now
And
we're shark walking.
Oh, come on.
You're a ghost. You don't have to shark walk. There we go. Wasn't necessary at all. Could have taken it before, but playing it safe. Rav cashes in their early maneuver with the safer play and goes up 3-1 with our first spy victory of the set.
Yeah. I mean I've done it. We've all done it. But doing it as a low light just feels a bit dirty, a bit scummy. Uh Quite a simple game there from Rob. Just really playing aggressively. I mean, finishing with 45 seconds left on the clock is uh, what you want to see, especially if you're low lit. But Rav doesn't necessarily know they're low lit. They do know that the purloin did go off and that the laser did come onto them. So it could have gone either way. I think they made the correct plays here, played it very well. In the end, it wasn't necessarily going to matter.
Yeah, Civ shot would have felt better. We threw a little chum in the water, but Grash was not ready to bite, and it didn't matter. We won with the bug anyway, played it safe, won the game, and now we've got a lead. And Grash, already knowing about that sniper I mentioned, has to try to make up ground on venues that aren't going to get much easier for the spy than Aquarium does sometimes, having already pulled out a little bit of tech that didn't quite work. It's going to be on to Ballroom now, though. Spy win still very plausible. We're playing as Queen in 3, 2, 1, playing it. The ambassador, it should be said, was very vulnerable that last game too. A little vulnerable here in the early going in the chaos, but not as bad as normal. And Rav is all over it anyway, and no bugs are attempted.
Yeah, and we didn't take control immediately, which means we've been punished with a green book. We definitely could do something like a microfilm, but just the later it gets from the very beginning of the game, the more likely the party has calmed down, the more likely you are to get caught for such thing. This is more typical of what we see from beginning of spy party games, and high competitive is just early flirts and early cheesy flirts too. We're leaving immediately.
Yeah, we're being pretty aggressive with it. Remember, Grosh did that in the first game as well on Aquarium, the flirt and leave. And Aquarium, it's a little easier to get away with on Ballroom, but I think Grosh's idea is still just, I'm going to do this until you punish me for it, and I can't blame them.
Yeah, I mean, we did see in that second game, Rov catching something esoteric with the two players left at the front window. So something like this could also be something that Rov could catch, but it's not necessarily what you have when you have the archetype of a camper. Rov isn't necessarily going out of their way to look at weird things that are happening in the party. They're looking at people like Disney going to mid statues and giving that additional suspicion.
There's a green flirt with the second one there. The seduction target comes near us, but not near enough. And we're at 80% though, so any half-decent flirt is probably going to get us there. 2 minutes left on the clock. Nothing particularly dangerous done yet. We've been offered a drink. It's actually an interesting time for a purloin, but we decide not to go for it. It's not the early green purloin. It's not the desperate late one that almost always ends up being a white test. I think the 2-minute mark is actually a really interesting time to do it if there's enough statue activity, which there was, but Grash decides better of it.
Yeah, there was no purloin chain. So when you're doing a purloin, you can do a white purloin, which will take the drink immediately, or if you happen to get the green test, it'll go on to the next person. Because our seduction target took the drink, it means that if we end up taking the list with a white purloin, we are the only person it could possibly be, barring some like weird exceptions.
A lot of statue visitors this game. It matters a lot to some snipers and a little less to others. But when you're highlighting for statues, it can make things much more difficult. A lot more people you have to credit with possible mission completes, certainly. Grash not one of them yet, and we're still not done with that flirt, but we're about to finish it right here. The double agents left the conversation with the spy, so we cannot get 2 missions done here now, just the one, and we do have it done. We do have a time ad in the meantime, by the way, which was very much needed.
I like the time ad, just acknowledging that you're not going to be finishing missions if you don't have the time ad, and also it additionally puts a bit more heat, gives the AI more time to do things that. Ooh, this is nasty. We've done a banana bread and green purloin, and while the banana bread wasn't real, it's not an actual mission that's going to be completed. It is covering for the purloin, and Toby has followed us directly.
Followed us? And the lady next to us is going to take it, white dress, and we're going to get the heck out of there and realize, oh my god, what's going on? We're going to walk right by the ambassador, too. We're going to put a bug on. No, it doesn't take, and Rob is looking for it. I think this might have been one mission too many. I don't know if the purloin's even been seen yet because we were guarding the bug and we got highlight for it. Are we going to get away with the purloin and get shot for the bug? We see the list gone, and that is reason enough. I think maybe the purloin might have been a decent option, but the bug along with it is one thing too many.
Yeah, I'm looking at this bug, and I'm trying to figure out why it necessarily didn't take. I think we got maybe a bit bullied by just the existence of Smallman. Maybe didn't acknowledge his existence there as we walked more or less over him. But very close to making the bug. It wouldn't have mattered anyways. Truly, it was only our third mission being done, and Rob did shoot us in time if the bug had landed. But again, another like good play here from Grash. He has ideas, and you need to have ideas to be a really quality sniper in Rav.
Yeah, I guess the queen used to getting the red carpet wherever she goes. In this case, charges, stomps, really, right through a conversation. And the purloin, which I was not even seen, I think, for a good 10 seconds. But as soon as it was, we figured, you know what? They could actually be done. I don't know if that was a fake, which they didn't, of course. And Rob does make the right decision and is now up 4-1. And I think you're right, Grash, some interesting plays. The execution just a little off here and there, though. Now it's going to be Rav as the spy, playing twin again in 3, 2, 1, playing it. And this feels like a competitive set, but the score says otherwise right now.
Yeah, exactly. We've had two of the best losses have been Grash's spies, but that's like, no, you don't want that. That's not the sentence that you like to hear. Hello, other twin. We do not want to be considered flirting with you. We want to be considered flirting with General, please and thank you. We've walked in this conversation, and we'll see how long we are patient. We're going to just talk as soon as General. I didn't even finish talking, actually.
Nope, and Grash paying an inordinate amount of attention to the inordinately large man. That's the ambassador that's tapped as usual, and pretty determined here not to lose to the bug, it seems like.
Ooh, Wheels being nasty back there. Wheels' bug does lift his hand off the arm of the wheelchair, so you can be pretty confident that a bug has or hasn't happened if you're watching it directly. But there's been a lot of action there at the back of the party with the ambassador, and I'm sure Grash isn't particularly happy about it.
No, and he zoomed in again as Wheels went by, coming from the other direction as well. So Grash still watching the ambassador very, very closely. Raven, meanwhile, has not moved during any of that. We are just waiting for the cooldown timer, and there it is mere seconds ago, and we have a chance to two-flirt right here. If we hit a second green test, here comes the test. It is. It's a 2 green for Rav, and that opens up some options with a little over 2 minutes left.
Yeah, because we've been doing it as timer flirt, necessarily rushing isn't going to be an option, but we could try and replicate what Grash was trying to do and time 2 missions at the same time. It was Purloin and Bug in our previous game. Oh, Toby doesn't even want to come to us because we're still holding a drink, I believe?
I guess so. And by the way, this is exactly what Rav did on the Aquarium game with the exact same character. Plain Twin, apparently, our designated slow play spy for the set.
Okay, conversations are quite full. Banana Bread here wouldn't be awful, though it would lose someone like Smallman and Orange Sorry, who are two of the most powerful characters in the game. And I think we need to take it at some point if we're going to be doing missions at all. Even if we're not doing missions, Banana Bread being said does put a lot of pressure on the sniper.
Waiting for one or two more to join, I think. General, the suction target does join a conversation. Smallman does not. Here comes Red Dress. There goes Kane. And I think we're going to have to eventually, like you said, just do it. This is a decent contact. Oh, another person leaves. We waited quite a while there. There's only a minute left, and the little yellow talking arrow is on us, even though Red Dress is chattering away. I don't know what the plan is here, but there's 1 minute left.
There's one play I would like right now, which is go and swap the statue that Orange Sari's just touched. She's been to two different statues, and she is kind of blocking the statue if we were to swap it.
And she is kind of talking while he does the contact. So that might have been the idea. Sorry, might be frameable. Let's see if he has the same idea. No, we're going to join this conversation. You got to imagine it's going to be a Purloin next to Sorry, right?
Yeah, Sari
She
rejects
reject?
this drink.
She does.
Ooh,
Oh,
nasty stuff here from
that's
Rob.
that's some nice party luck if that was your plan. Let's see if you
Please
can hop on
Purloin.
this chain. It's a green. Okay, but we can't. Can we even get to pending here though? Is the problem. This has to take very quickly, or there's going to be no reason for Graash to shoot.
This is the moment of truth. Is
Another
Tio gonna take
highlight
guns?
rejects.
It's gonna pend.
3 highlights are rejecting, and the pending is actually bad here. You need to get to mission 1 countdown, which means you need to crash bug, probably. There's the take from the double agent. 5 seconds left. There's no reason to shoot yet. You can wait for overtime, but Graash does not wait for overtime, and the final of the 3 rejectors is the one that takes the bullet.
Yeah, notably, Rob did get a bug there, and it was a very nice bug for very low clock at the end of the game. So if it did go into overtime and we still weren't the shot, it would have still worked out for Rob. That being said, the shot here, based on the Purloin going off with 7 seconds left, is you wouldn't have much overtime, but you would have had maybe 1 or 2 quick beeps.
Yes, yeah, I think that's the key right there. And it might not have mattered because we did get that little help from the ambassador. We got a surprisingly good bug relative to the fact that we had no time to set up a bug, right? Like, obviously, it's not a great bug by most standards, but given that you had no options, could not pick your spots anymore, and had to get to that mission win countdown, that overtime, better than it had any right to be. And also, let's just be honest, we set ourselves up for that Purloin chain before Sari rejected or took. So we needed her to reject, and she did. And then Toby goes to another conversation, and another highlight takes it. That is a mix, as so many spy wins are, of great spy play and great party luck simultaneously. And even the best snipers are sometimes helpless in the face of both together.
Yeah, I like the word provided by our Twitch chat here, slick. That was a really slick game there from Rob, and deserving win. We had 5-1 up though, which is pretty brutal if you're Grash. We're gonna need to see a bit of a comeback. And Ballroom as spy, if as long as it comes to any spy game, is still a very good comeback location. We're playing as Boots, and we can get it started in 3, 2, 1. Playing it.
Yeah, the match is slick, but for Graash, it's a veritable slide. We are falling away from any chance of winning this match. There's Grash again, and there, this time, oh, you thought maybe we were getting high lit or low lit for it? No, but it is the aggressive flirt again from Graash. 3rd time we've seen it from them, and they haven't been caught yet.
Yeah, I think what happened there is we walked across Queen, who is the double agent, and for a moment there, sneakily grabbed the low light before Rov corrected their mistake.
I'm telling you, always wait 5 seconds before reacting to a low light. That's the grace period. Because I would say the majority of spy lowlights in the first half of a game do not end up taking. Because they are, as you say, just little misclicks. If anything, the impressive part there is that Rov noticed immediately, and sometimes snipers do not notice, and they just give games away like that with their aggressive early cast low lighting. We have a second flirt in already, and it's 84%. We don't see that number very much, usually 85, which is a close green and a close white combined in any order. But we don't really care. Green contact right after it. Almost 2 missions done, over 2.5 minutes left. This is another aggressive game from Graash, but is it actually going to come together in the end this time?
Yeah, that banana bread was fantastic, by the way. With the double agent in a pretty full conversation, and there was only one low light, and it was a neutral light too. We didn't even lose a highlight in that. So really lovely stuff here from Grash for the start of the game. The start of a SpyParty game is not the important part. The important part is the end of a SpyParty game, though. And so we're going to need to see something else from Grash from what they provided us in their previous 3 spy games.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that is a Courtyard quality contact on a ballroom game, and that is particularly valuable and can become particularly valuable in that end game that you were just talking about. When you don't have the party very narrowed down, there can be a lot of activity and a lot of occlusion, a lot of things to vie for the sniper's attention, and that's the way you're going to beat a great sniper like Rav. We do take an innocent drink at Windows. There's about 90 seconds left, and we still haven't made any progress since I mentioned that. We do get a highlight for it, too. I wonder what that's all about. Fingerprint? That's what it is. It's a difficult, and we still get the highlight.
It's a difficult fingerprint. We did also request, so Toby did walk over to us, perhaps a bit longer than they would have otherwise, to get it to us. But I think it's probably just related to the fingerprint. Just lights out, heads up sniping from Rob though, and it has been all set. It's gonna be really hard for Grash if Rob just continues playing with this quality, even if they can
There
get.
it is. Yep.
Oh wow, that's
Raw over it. A difficult, a contact, and then a simple briefcase fingerprint, and Rav is confident again. Takes the shot, has only seen 2 soft tails, and one of them was a green. Excellent contact. Got to be a little demoralizing for Graash because that was a pretty strong looking spy game against most snipers.
Yeah, Rob saying in chat, highlight was for a different reason, something probably etiquette related to the window pad, and it kind of needed to be because you're shooting for 3 missions here.
Yeah.
There wasn't a 4th mission shown unless
Yeah.
you're suspecting a
Do we think
bug
that
or scared of like a chaos bug, for example. There wasn't too much reason to
Yeah.
shoot just on this
Yeah.
fingerprint.
Well, he was pretty far
Again,
away
just
to do that
really
put
brutal
down,
stuff
I
there from
think.
Rob, and this is how it feels. I've happened to have the chance to play Rob a few times, and this is just the misery that you have to deal with something so precise.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
there we
I
go.
feel like
And also, let's
it's
just say your
possible,
threshold for
or
shooting.
I was gonna say as add that it seems like the briefcase put down. He was pretty far away to be doing that. You know, I think they're on opposite sides of the venue there. Probably should have walked a bit.
And to be perfectly honest, I think you could excuse a more aggressive, styling kind of shot when you're up 5-1 and your sniper is playing this well. Whatever it is, it's 6-1 Rav now. This is a best of 16, I'll remind you. So it's first to 9, and we are well on our way. Rav now is the spy, still on Ballroom, playing his green dress in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Yeah, I mean, as a certain point, it can be very demoralizing to play what I think have been pretty good spy games overall and still not get anything out of it. There's an early green flirt from Rav, 51%. And our seduction target leaves right afterwards.
Yeah, this is I know where I personally would do, which is go time ad 3 times, try and uh, falter the sniper. That being said, you still need to win your sniper games too, and we do have Grash on the sniper, and they haven't been winning those games at a great rate either. There's a reason why Rob is 6-1. They need to be shooting Rob basically every game they can.
Yeah, no, certainly. And while I understand the Aquarium one, you missed the cheese on the microphone with the help of the shark. But on the other hand, that ballroom game felt very winnable, even with the party luck. So it's been a mix of things, right? Good play and great opportunity, and that's the kind of way you get a lopsided result amongst good players. We do have our second flirt in. We're up to 82% now. That is just shy of what we'd need to guarantee a third flirt would take, 17 being the lowest flirt percentage you can get. But I don't think Rob's going to have to worry about that. The cooldown expires. We stop talking so that we can start flirting right afterwards, and that's not going to be caught either, and the seduce is done.
Yeah, we've seen both players getting their seduce done very early. Rob with a lot of green tests, Grash with a lot of aggression, and it's helping them be able to plan, make these quality plays throughout the whole set. And it's Rob who's the one who's been benefiting. This is assuming the Twin is blocking the Ambassador with that briefcase. Very technical stuff there, and it's the sort of stuff that might get rewarded by Grash in some situations, not rewarded in this particular situation.
Yeah, Rav has no reason to take their foot off the gas with this kind of lead, and obviously their aggression has been rewarded in the very previous game, as a matter of fact, so we're not going to let up now. We do have the fingerprint. We do have 2 inspects done as well. Flirt is done. No contact, but that can happen late in the game if you needed to. And Grash, again, paying a lot of attention to the Ambassador, which you would think would translate into a lot of attention on Prince, but that remains to be seen.
Yeah, this is a game where my personal idea here is if we could avoid contacting at all, have a silent game, it would be really powerful. With fingerprints and the inspects already half done, it's something that might be viable, especially if the double agent isn't going to go into conversation and force the play entirely.
We have not contacted yet. One of the advantages of that is that you don't narrow down the party early, and the end game leaves you a lot more to watch. There are no non-cast lowlights for Grash so far. A lot of activity, and the chaos of the end game can really hurt there. We saw it last game too, again, with some help from Toby, from the party. There's the first lowlight, just as I say it, it's Salmon. But there will be more coming with the contact, but if the contact is the final mission, that's not going to be enough.
So
Finishing the
finish up our
inspects.
inspects. I do not believe there's a fingerprint on here. We are getting the highlight with the inspects done.
And we're going to swap.
Swapping. It's going to be a green test. Rob has been so good at his action tests right now.
Yeah, his
Who's going to pick
career.
this up? It's probably going to be someone like Duke, who is a highlight.
Oh,
given the
is
other
it
characters
Cowboy? Is it the
nearby
highlight?
do have books or drinks in their hand.
Cowboy really looks like he's bugging. He's already a highlight. He does a 180 and walks by the ambassador, kind of bumps into them, but Grash is not having it. There's the contact that knocks Cowboy out, and the mission win is pending. Here comes Twin to take the swap. We are one of just 3 highlights left, but Toby is blocking the potential swap. Here it comes. Can we see it? It is on screen. There's the beeps. We've got to shoot somebody, and it's going to be the swapper, even though they weren't highlit. Definitely caught off guard by that swap. Wow. Wow. What a crazy ending. I really thought that we might get shot just by default there, simply because we were one of the highlights, but I think there was just a little bit too much of a delay between the 2 sides of the swap here. Let me take a look and see when this takes place. Yeah, that's 26, and then it picks it up right there at the very end. Character picked up pending statue, negative 1.6 seconds. That's a pretty long gap there with the swap.
Yeah, and this is why I was expecting Duke to take it, because they were near the statue, and with it being swapped with over 30 seconds left, I figured it would be picked up with like 10, 15 seconds left. But maybe the game just didn't feel like doing that. And with nobody else there, it's again another person who's highlight picking up a statue. Both the plays, but also the fortune going Rob's favor. This is going to result in a heavy favored scoreline towards Rob, despite both players playing really well.
I mean, the interesting thing is, I mentioned that Cowboy was highlit and walked right by the statues near the end of the game, and then immediately turned around and walked by the ambassador instead. This had 2 effects. First, it meant that the statue was not picked up sooner, when Grash maybe had more reason to pay attention to it and caught the green. It also had Cowboy, a highlight, walking by the ambassador late in the game, which also took up his attention, and I think probably contributed to this. If Cowboy keeps going, maybe the outcome is different and the bleeding is stopped. Instead, we're still bleeding, and we lose another sniper game. We really don't have any more
It was
room
a little,
here.
actually,
We're down
I'm
7
just thinking about it, was a little weird that because the timer stopped, which would mean that it was like a pending mission or a time ad.
And it was for about a second until the
Yeah,
contact.
but like I feel like, well, I mean, I guess maybe it was just too quick for Grash to notice, but you know, I feel like that would confirm that it was a green swap and not a white swap.
Well, if there's only a second, you might be tempted to think, well, that's just the normal delay. But the point is, it's more confusion at the end of what was already a confusing game with a lot vying for the sniper's attention. That is I'm going to say, again, good play by Rav with a very amenable party, too.
Yeah. It was just...
Yeah, there's weird exceptions, like if there was also a pending purloin, but as far as I can tell, Twin hadn't already been offered a drink recently. It definitely couldn't have been Twin in this
it turns out a lot of stuff happens at the end of the game, and you go, shoot.
And when the beeping starts going and it's loud in your ear, and just yelling at you that you must shoot. We've seen some players completely clam up and refuse to shoot in those 10 seconds. We've seen players make the wrong decision.
Yeah, you just shoot the guy closest to the highlighted guy closest to your laser.
Precisely. We move on to gallery. Rav is Braziling Grash right now, 7-1 up. And these quarterfinal sets, I believe, go to 9.
Yep, it's a best of 16. So yes, 9 is the clincher, and Rav is already close to clinching.
Yeah, it's not match point here, but Grash is going to need to do a lot of work. Again, another map that, with these 4 of 8s, the Spy can do a lot of work. You can definitely sweep gallery if you're playing well. The problem is, Grash is playing well, and it's not resulted in any results. Now playing is Seek in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Those OT beeps are, I want to say, the scariest sound in esports.
Yeah, maybe.
Certainly for me. But then again, I only play a few esports. We have an early flirt again, Grash, this time, and I was just about to say, this time has not left already, and this time they have by the time I finish that sentence, 34%. Just a white test. Has not been caught for it yet. So they say keep doing it. Rob says, I don't care if I've caught you yet. I've still been winning.
I think I might have to agree with you on that esports thing. I went through all the esports I ever knew in the last 10 seconds, and I think there aren't any other esports that make any sense. 65%, by the way, is what we call a Tobo percent because it would make caster Toboshi very sad. The reason why is there's two different things that you can do with the flirt. You can either green test, and we've seen a lot of those, and go up to 51%, or you can white test, and even if you're next to someone as close as you can possibly be, if you do white test the flirt, you'll only get 34%. 34 plus 65 does not equal 100. It unfortunately equals 99%. So we are going to need another green test if we are going to finish our flirt.
Yeah, that definitely hurts a little bit. On the other hand, being one flirt away on Gallery, where flirt is a little harder than most of the other 4-8 venues or 4-7 venues, not too bad. You'll definitely take it, and Rob will too. Rob says, I'm going to keep spotting you the flirt. There's the white test you were talking about, 97%, and it might as well be 0, but at least we're close to being done. However, over a minute has burned off the clock, and we haven't gotten anything else done.
Yeah, this is kind of what happens with Gallery. Like, you can get your flirt done, which we haven't even done, but it's so much walking just to get anywhere because of the long verticality of the map that you need to be doing multiple missions at once. Something like that fingerprintable statue, for example, could get us an inspect and also a fingerprint and cover us. But we do also need to continue doing other things. Potentially a banana bread here would also be good.
Our seduction target looked like they were passing us, but they actually come around and join in the conversation so we can
Banana
finish
bread.
while we're contacting. We're going to stop talk right afterwards. Our seduction target's going to start talking, and we're going to finish the seduce. And yeah, that verticality you mentioned leads to a lot of movement, even with someone like Seek with their 6-foot stride.
I would have liked a stop talk there because I think Rob did acknowledge that we were the only talker and the only real contact. The back conversation didn't have a double agent or a suspected double agent, so we're the only ones who could be possibly credited with
Yep.
that mission. Now we've picked up the statue. It's not the one that had the fingerprint to be noted, and so
It
we
had a
just have
difficult on it.
inspect.
It did have difficult, which we missed, which means we're probably credited already by Rav. And you're right, real contact highlights are a very scary thing for the spy to have if they are A, correct, which they are, and B, if the sniper is confident in them, which, let's be honest, Rav is.
We're so close to the statue here, it looks like a swap setup, but if you look at the laser, it's really trying to get vision on the statue, and you can
He
tell
can't
that
get
from
it.
Grash's side. You don't need to be looking at the sniper side to see that.
And the
Grash,
ambassador picks it up, and Rob is furious, but has chosen not to shoot. If we'd swapped, we would have won this game, I think. I'm not sure if it was ever visible on screen. It's hard to tell, though, because once it's inspected, it's blue, which makes it a little harder from our perspective here to see, a little easier for the sniper for whom it is still gold. So I'm not sure. Maybe he did get a look at the swap, but if he didn't, we could have won that game right then and there.
yeah, that's such a heads up play to note that or be a bit fortunate. Interestingly enough, if we had green tested, the ambassador wouldn't have swapped it, even though they would have picked up the statue, just with the way the mechanics of the game work. So we have one mission to do, and we're at the back of this party. This is a very typical spot for a
Here comes the
purloin, and we
purloin.
are requesting the drink.
And the highlight before us does not reject. They take it, and we're going to give up on that and bug
Wow.
instead. And Teal gets shot instead. A surprising mistake from Rav after what I think must have been a little tilting situation there at Statues Late.
To note, the bug didn't even land. Again, Grash went for a bug and just clicked on it a bit too late. But it doesn't matter if your opponent is feeling the pressure. You've made a very long and arduous game for the sniper. Mistakes do happen, even for a sniper who's both been shown quality throughout their career, but also in this set. Just giving it to Teal, presumably their second inspect.
Yeah, Teal's second inspect, I think, and not only that, but about 2:30 on the clock, Teal is sitting in that back conversation, and the ambassador leaves Green Shelf and walks right by her, possibly crediting a bug there, one of the real contactors, and then a possible inspect finish as well. That's actually a pretty reasonable shot under the circumstances, especially when you're just kind of upset probably by that statue situation earlier. We know that Graash could have won a slightly more satisfying win there with that mission win, with that swap block, but was not sure if the statue was visible or not and takes the win anyway. This is the downside of those real contact highlights, by the way. Obviously, way more attention paid to you, but if any of the AIs in with you look like they're finishing, that could be enough too, because they are getting stared at just as hard.
Yeah, it's nice to see Grash getting a bit of fortune on their spy side when I've generally been very complimentary of their spy side. They've been making good decisions and not getting rewarded. Here, I mean, they didn't even make the bug. They actually made a small mechanical mistake at the end of the game. but were rewarded anyways. So it's nice to see Karma doing its part. Now we'll see Rov do their part here as the spy, playing his rocker in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And if you're Grash, obviously it's nice to finally break through because you probably felt you were close a couple of times, but it doesn't really mean anything if you can't start holding down the sniper. That has actually been the reason this has gotten so far out of hand.
Precisely. Rov not following Grash's advice of flirt and leave, which against Grash I think is actually a more reasonable thing. When someone is doing such a play and being so aggressive, they are usually also very aware of it as a sniper. It's not always true, but it's definitely something, if you don't know much about your opponent, a good heuristic to use.
That's certainly true. It is at the forefront of everyone's mind. You want to do fingerprint after you just caught someone for fingerprint, or they got away with it, or it factored into the game at all. Certainly with certain missions that spies don't do quite as much, like swap or microfilm on certain venues, it's certain like, oh yeah, I've just been reminded of this thing. So all else being equal, sure, something to consider. We're going to take an instant drink in the back of this conversation after that flirt, and apparently we're just going to timer flirt, even though we can't finish in 2, try to get a little more progress. And on gallery, you're going to see this a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, we could have left and come back, but with something like Gallery, that's going to save you 10 seconds, and the seduction target might leave, and it will look fairly suspicious. I think timer floating here is definitely a reasonable play. Uh, the only concern here is just being at the back of the conversation of Gallery is really like Spy's favorite place. I don't love it behaviorally that this is the place that we ended up having to do our flirts, but I mean, the reason why is Ambassador might walk by us. We're in a somewhat okay bugging position that we don't really have a pad to land on if we were to do this bug, and we're looking at it but refusing to do so.
Our seduction target is in the best bugging position, and it's still not left, so that's just a good position for us in general. And yeah, when you get the rare opportunity for the seduction target to just stay and be flirted with for a minute and a half solid, you're normally just going to take it, and we do, and it's going to be 3 flirts in a row, the first 2 white, unfortunately. But with 2 minutes left on the clock, at least that scary, scary mission is out of the way. But that is still not the hardest one, even though it's harder here than most places.
Shoutouts to Wheels, who saw these two ladies flirting and went, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go roll up right between them.
Yep, flanked by the spy and the seduction target, has no idea what's going on. Much bigger things afoot than your love life, Wheels, as it turns out. But she's all yours, Green Dress is now, because I've already won her over to my side of this espionage game. We're going to go to blue shelves now afterwards. We're going to hang on to this book, and I guess we're going to sit in the back of the conversation, roughly where we were before, and the ambassador is going to come in right next to us. I don't know if this is free or not, because Grash is double zoomed and very paranoid, and rightly so.
Yeah, that we didn't take the bug there would have been such a heads-up play if we knew that the ambassador was going to do what they did. But the ambassador coming in and standing right in front of us is such a weird little thing for them to do
A
that
look
I
at me
don't blame
moment.
Rob for not just taking the bug that did exist.
I mean, on one hand, it's like, wow, this seems like a great time to bug. On the other hand, you know the sniper is staring at you, and they were. Here's the real contact. There is an SDA out front, so we have 2 missions done. We're holding the blue book. We've been holding it for a while, and I think we're gonna hope that we've been holding it long enough that Grash will forget where it's from. But I'm not sure this has been a particularly active party, and we've been visible there in the center of the screen for quite a while during these zooms. So I'm not sure we're gonna get away with this.
Ambassador has moved near us. We're gonna use
It's a
a
bug
banana bread to try and
attempt.
cover for a bug. Don't low light us for that.
Oh, wow. It looked like we were out of the conversation, and Grosh lowlights Rov. Are we going to feel that, though? It could feel like a highlight just as much.
Yeah, Rov is shaking their head like they're very unhappy about the situation, but this is really their only winning chances. They need to go slam this book into the bookcase and then purloin.
They're not doing it.
And they are lining up like they're trying to purloin, but they have a book in hand. Toby,
What is this?
I think they've just rolled over. They're going to do another fake banana bread. It's not going to trigger anything because it's going into overtime. Now they're just
Nope.
anti-BMing. It was bad manners, but you're about to lose.
That is just throwing stuff in the air and hoping they take a shot at it. Those are not clay pigeons. I'm not going to do it. And Grash with an impressive hold on gallery after low-lighting the spy. Fair to say, Rov did not feel that low light.
Yeah, so the only play there, because we needed to get the book out of our hand, if we're going to be completing missions, was go slam the book into the bookcase, and then because of just the low amount of time and most things being far away, I think it really just was Purloin was our last mission if we're going to mission complete. Rov instead deciding to lean into just someone being shot at the end of the game, which we have seen. I mean, we saw that just a game ago with Teal being shot at statues. In this instance, though, I don't see anybody who was at statues. And again, Grash gets another one on the board. Don't call it a comeback.
Yeah, 7-3. But now, when you're thinking about those near misses on those spy games on Ballroom, for example, you flip just one of those, and it's 6-4. It feels like at 7-1, it doesn't really matter if you flipped any of them because the game's getting away from you. But then you put a couple of good games together, and suddenly you really, really wish you had them. You never know what's going to happen next, but we're about to find out. It's going to be Graash, Courtyard, playing as Kane in 3, 2, 1, playing it. It's not over quite yet, and if Graash wins this, fair to say we're all going to sit forward in our seats just a little bit more.
Yeah, Courtyard is, I think, in the mindset of most players, the most sniper-friendly of the venues. Statistically, I mean, Gallery does get more sniper wins than Courtyard, despite both being 4 of 8s, or in this case, a 4 of 7. To note, we did get a cheeky flirt there at statues, and to another 51%. These players have been hitting their green tests, especially early in the game, and it's resulting in them having a lot of freedom later in the game.
Yeah, and 3 people already with statue visits, and they have highlights. Again, we talk about how a lot of snipers like to mix up their highlights. They don't want to go with rote statue highlights. But on Courtyard, it remains the dominant strategy because this is one of the venues where it makes far and away the most sense. We're going to knock out 2 of them, however, early on with this contact. It's surprisingly weak contact for Courtyard, where it is possible with patience to get an excellent one almost every game.
Yeah, our seduction target does appear to be the most threatening person at the party, with both the banana bread potentially done and the inspects done. If they were to potentially like be the person who takes the list, if we did a purloin near them, or they rejected as then we took the list, I would definitely expect them to be potentially shot. That being said, it's Courtyard. Generally, it's what's your 4th mission? We are likely to get our inspects at some point, but what is the plan? On that note, we're going to get our inspects now. We're going to get a highlight for it.
I mean, the only virtue of inspect swap here is that it's a little earlier in the game than you'd normally expect it, and it could catch them off guard, or they could low light before they shoot. And we're going to get a little cover from that self-same seduction target from before, who you mentioned as a threat. Here comes the swap. It is a white swap. It is off camera, but it's about to be on camera, and I think we are about to die. No, we do not rotate all the way! Rav leaves it blocked by the seduction target, and I think it's just what I said, not expecting a swap that early in the game, and Grash with another spy win.
Swap prior to a minute left on the clock, and with a bit of cover there from Red Dress, and I feel like maybe the ambassador just being watched a bit too carefully. Rob dropping a very much a campy thing. This is the sort of thing that Rob is incredibly proficient at, so I'm quite surprised. Maybe it's just Grash getting a bit of momentum there on Gallery uh, has tilted Rob a little bit, because this is not to be expected. You will not get away with this if you do this exact same play, for example, next game.
If not for that crazy ballroom game we saw with that purloin chain, Grash would be sniping for the tie on Courtyard. Instead, it's 7-4, and they still have a chance to pull very, very close here. That is a big, big win for Grash, but they need to cash it in. They have no more margin left. It's going to be Seek, played by Rav, on Courtyard in 3, 2, 1, playing it. You mentioned earlier the seduction target might be the most dangerous character, and it turns out you were right, but not in the way we expected. Pulls the swap block for us, basically, and wins us the game. Red Dress waved like a red Matador's flag, except instead of charging, Rob demurs. And now it's 3 in a row from Grash, and 2 of those are spy wins.
Informed that Rob in that situation was watching Red Dress at the statues. That being said, it was the same statues that we were at. Amazed that the
You didn't have to pick and choose, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They're both there. It was definitely on camera that the swap had happened, but he was just waiting for Red Dress to potentially swap. 51% flirt in this particular game, and we're seeing another Seek game. Seek has been fairly popular, despite the thing, in my opinion, that he doesn't have the necessary power that we've seen with some of the other characters picked today. In general, I think these players are playing pretty respectively with their character picks.
It's funny, that previous game, again, I think, maybe not expecting to swap that early, which means the aggressive flirt has a ripple effect throughout the entire game and might be the reason that that finally works out for Grash. And with very little time left on the match's clock, so to speak, Rav, by the way, 2 minutes, half the flirt done, and we are going to wait around to try to 2-flirt again, like we did, I think, in either our previous spy game or the one before that. Been a lot of green
And
tests,
in
but
the
not too
red.
many 2-flirts. That's going to be a fake contact leading right into the seduce, which is 85%, and we're going to get the heck out of there right afterwards.
Was that a misclick potentially? Because that
Yeah.
felt a bit weird. That
I
being
think
said,
so. White swap. I think we might have been trying to get a low light or something, and I just don't think this is going to work. Is Grash about to pull within 2?
yeah, Grosh told us prior to the set that they were mixing up their way that they were memorizing things. Let's hope that they memorize these statues correctly, because Rav hasn't been shot yet, despite swapping
Well,
more or less on camera.
Well, are we confident that wasn't a real contact? That's the big question. I think you might have been right about the misclick, and if Grash is on their game, if they feel confident it's not a real contact, they might be waiting for one before they shoot. It's a surprising swap, which is one reason to maybe doubt yourself.
The other reality is we could just shoot for Flirt, but uh, Rav did have the potential to finish Flirt if they had done 2 green tests. That would be a risky way to snipe this game. Instead, Rav is taking an innocent drink because our seduction target's left. We haven't done anything for the last 30, 45 seconds. And I'm interested to see how they are going to do this final mission, given we're reliant on 2 different AIs behaving.
Yeah, and look at this. There's only one other highlight, and he's going to statues a second time. Very AI-like move, potentially. Graash has no reason to really be suspicious of anyone else, and the Ambassador has joined us, but we do still have a drink in our bug side hand, and the Ambassador is gone before we're done with it, and there's only 20 seconds left, and Graash, I'll remind you, already held earlier. A very impressive hold. Might have a chance to do it
And in the
again.
red.
There's another one of those late desperation contacts, but it does come at the right time at least, so that if we do think it's going to finish, we don't have to wait for overtime. But Graash looks like they're going to hold again. We're going to make a beeline either for the windows or the Ambassador or both. Here we go. We're going to try to flirt. That's only going to get us to 3 missions. We have to crash bug right now. I don't think we're timing it right, are we? We do. I don't know if we timed it right, but it did not take, and Graash is only down 7-5.
Fantastic comeback here. This is our 3rd bug that we've seen that felt like it could have stuck, but I think this was the least confident I was about the bug. Simply just wanting to be as far away from the Ambassador as quickly as possible resulted in the bug not landing. That being said, I'm pretty sure Grash was ready to take this shot just based on how still their laser was that last 30 seconds. And with so many lowlights, right? Like there's just not much that they were watching beyond Cowboy, who was in the conversation for that last banana bread being said with the double agent, but Grash patiently held their shot, and Rav, who was near the Ambassador, but you could see the laser just ready there like a shark.
OT does not change that outcome. It just changes exactly how it happens. Wow. Wow. Okay. So I said before that if Graash won that Courtyard game, we were all going to sit forward in our seats. I'm teetering on the edge of mine now because if Graash wins this library spy game, the comeback will be nearly complete, and the hardest part of it will already be over. They're going with General, almost 5 minutes on the clock though, but the snipers have been patient. Let's see if they have to be. Let's see if they can be. In 3, 2, 1, playing it. This is a different beast of a venue than the other one so far, though.
I would love to see some time ads. You just have so much pressure, and you need to put Rav in a spot where they feel like they need to be taking shots in these 5-8 situations. Because if you let Rav get back into a groove, snipe for a good 4 minutes, and you don't have either missions being shown or like spooky things like, oh no, the clock is somehow higher than I started off with, Rav will get back into their sniping groove. They are not going to be easily tilted just because they are so consistent, and we've seen them catch esoteric things already in this set, which can sometimes bail them out of these games too. So I'd like to see something spicy here from Grash. Time ads are always the first thing that comes to mind for me, but that's a personal problem I have to deal with.
There's
I'm
support groups
interested
for
to
this
see
kind
what
of thing, by the way.
Grash's idea is going to be.
Yeah, we did get that aggressive early flirt in at Windows, 51% early on, and we do it again here at another window, the front window this time, but it's only a white, 85%, so pretty aggressive still, and it's worked out. I think the question we have to ask ourselves is being down 7-1 one of those things that frees up your spy to be more aggressive in a way that helps you win, but as soon as you get close, you get careful again? That's the thing you got to watch out for.
Yeah, we see Grash, same side of the party here as our seduction target, but we didn't want to go pick up the middle statue and eat a big highlight just yet, especially because we wouldn't necessarily even be able to finish the inspects if we did so, because the seduction target was holding the 3rd statue, and you need to be able to see the statue and have nobody else holding it if you're going to be completing inspects in one cycle or one visit.
We can't resist following them to green bookshelves, though, instead. And we miss the pad and
no.
twitch over, and it is absolutely on the center of the sniper's screen. And there's a highlight, and the entire game and maybe the set might have fallen apart right then.
Yeah, annoyingly too, because we missed it and it took us a bit more time, we also didn't finish the flirt. So we've been paired at this green bookcase because of this whole situation. We are going to have to go meet up with Twin at least one more time.
And that is going to be death because it was noticed on every level. I think you got to do a bunch of stuff now before you finish the flirt. There's the contact. We're talking on it, and it is on screen. Highlights get knocked out. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 low lights total now, including our seduction target. That is far too many relative to our mission progress and our clock. And this game went from so-so to very dangerous in a matter of seconds with that missed pad. There's the bug. It's not really visible because it's general, but the path is suspicious. Rav is suspicious. Rav takes the shot. It is 8-5, and Grash's little win streak has ended.
And this will put Rov in a match point situation, which generally, when people are in match point situations, when they're playing for the win, it's a huge boost for their confidence and their likelihood to finish off the win. It's going to be really hard for Grash to do this. That being said, they do get to snipe library here moving forward. Just a bit of an unfortunate game. I've been very complimentary about both these players' Spy, especially compared to like what I was expecting coming into this set. But this was more just unfortunate game, and these do happen in SpyParty, no matter the quality of the players.
I mean, they do. You mentioned earlier several missed bugs, but the thing is, all those missed bugs, I think in almost every case, they didn't matter. They didn't seem to affect the shot. The shot either came off or didn't, regardless. So even though those were major mechanical errors, they didn't affect the outcome. But this one, we can tell, absolutely could have. Rav on match point to make it to the semifinals. Again, finished third in the Summer Cup. Obviously on the cusp of playing for at least third in the second consecutive cup here now. One more win, but it is a spy game on Library, and Grash has looked better late. Playing in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Could be seconds away from advancing.
Yeah, to note, we do have another set after this. While this might be the last set of this particular, or sorry, last game of this particular set, we will have more SpyParty for you. That being said, as a spectator of the game, I am now a heavy Grash supporter. And I have been since he was down 7-1 because I like more SpyParty. And he is sniping here on Library. He does have good opportunities to get the shot. Just because you have to do 5 missions instead of 4 missions helps out the sniper more than it does the spy.
The ambassador sidles up next to us. If Tobo were here, he would say, "Oh, hello, ambassador," but he's not, so I'll say it for him. We don't have any progress early in this game. We've seen Rav slow play a couple of games so far this set, and the mix-up between aggressive and slow play that you kind of said you were hoping for early on with that first slow play game, it has panned out and it has worked for them very well. So we might be seeing it again here, especially on Library. But here's the thing: you've seen Grash be incredibly patient twice, so I think aggression is probably your better bet.
Yeah, and this is a map where, with the pathing mindset that Grash has, can result in a lot of lowlights. There's a lot of things that AIs are just going to bounce off and do weird little things that spies are going to have trouble replicating or trouble even thinking about, while they're also trying to consider how they're going to complete missions, how they're going to try and not get a bullet in the back of their head. So the longer this game goes, the better it is going to be for Grash, especially if Rob just isn't doing anything in particular.
And that seems to be the case. That probably still means not doing anything into time ads. On a lot of venues, when you slow play, you just slow play. But I would say Library in particular, slow plays almost invariably involve time ads, and you build the entire game around timing them right. So you wait 2.5 minutes, which is about where we are now. You don't time ad necessarily in the beginning or at the very end when snipers are looking for it. You kind of pick that boring middle ground when other stuff is happening, when the list is down, when the ambassador is vulnerable, and you just spam time ads. We are going to get a flirt done here, 51%. Might as well, not a lot of downside. Leave yourself some options at the end of the game. But I will say it makes less sense on Library because you can't kind of just nudge your way towards a possible late mission rush the way you can on a 4-8 venue.
I feel like we just double talked for no reason, but Rob does have mission completion, 51%. Let's go. Just do that like 9 more times, right? Like we got half a mission. We just need to do a lot of that. The reality is you don't necessarily need to finish to win a SpyParty game. You can just cause the sniper to shoot somebody else, either if you're playing against somebody who's just a bit jumpy, just waiting.
Ooh.
This is not how you do this, though. This is the most suspicious thing you could possibly do at this party, and we should take a highlight for it, hopefully.
It is a difficult fingerprint, though. We do not take a highlight for it, at least not yet, for the fingerprint or the statue. And picking up that difficult might actually change our game plan here. I still think we're going to need a time ad, but it is early enough that we can still decide to finish. And yeah, look, the whole thing where you sort of make some progress, hope for a shot, and that's exactly what happens out of nowhere. Duke gets shot with 90 seconds left on the clock, and just like that, Grash's tournament is over.
I have an idea why it happened, but first I just want to say, wow. That's just super unfortunate. I think it's been because Rob has sped up the games, and in the mechanical sense, it's Duke was just standing in front of this statue like he was blocking it, and just refusing to move away from it, which is a play that we do see fairly often on Library, where people will block a statue, or sorry, swap a statue early in the picking up of the statue, and then at the end, just stand in front of the statue for the last few seconds. Grash is just waiting for Duke to move, and Duke is just refusing to do so, and so he shoots him. And it's unfortunate, but this is also the issue if you don't have a great count. There's no chance Duke could be
No,
considered
there's
having
not even a
5
fake
kills.
contact.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the really unfortunate thing, and it's very confusing too because we were just talking about Grash's patience. It's sort of that whiplash, right? Really, really patient, and then very aggressive, and maybe that's what happens at the end of these matches. Just if you just win one of those earlier games, maybe the pressure doesn't matter quite as much. But instead, Rav is basically gifted this berth. They run out to a huge 7-1 lead and then have to sweat it out late. But they do win the final 2 games on Library. One of them, again, just an early Christmas present. Or late, I guess. It is the Winter Cup after all. Either way, Rav is going to move on to the semifinals, and even if he loses his very next game, he's going to have a chance to finish 3rd or higher again for the 2nd consecutive cup. Not necessarily on the strength of that sniper, though. If you told Graash they were going to score multiple spy wins off of Rav here, I think they'd think, you know what, that's one of my avenues to upset.
Yeah, when we started up the cast, I was talking about Rob's camping sniper and Grash's pathing sniper, and both of them I had this mindset that their snipers were better than their spy. They've shown that at least they both have very capable spies. Rob just having a bit cleaner sniper, and I do like their chances moving into the semifinals. Rob definitely feels like that sort of player that you're gonna see in that 3rd or 4th place match, but definitely has the potential to beat